There comes a point in every life when you wake up and realize, this can't be all there is. You've done everything they told you: chase success, stay busy, make money, be seen. But still, there's a quiet voice inside you whispering, is this really living? My friend, the truth is, most people aren't living. They're just surviving. They're trapped in noise, running from silence, and calling it life. But let me tell you something. Life doesn't change when the world does. It changes when you do. And if you can learn to silence that chaos, to see through the illusion, and rise above the pain, you won't just change your life, you'll change your soul. This video isn't for those who want motivation for a moment. It's for those who want transformation for a lifetime. Let me tell you something that most people never realize until it's too late. You don't have time. You think you do. You think the clock is patient. You think tomorrow will always be waiting. But time doesn't care. Every morning you wake up scrolling through your phone, watching lives that aren't yours. You lose a piece of your own. Every night you say, I'll start tomorrow. And every tomorrow turns into another excuse. The illusion of time is the most dangerous lie you'll ever believe. You see, people say life is short. But that's not true. Life is long, if you live it with intention. But if you waste it in distraction, regret, and fear, it feels like a blink. You go from dreaming about your future to wondering where it went. Most young people think their 20s are for figuring things out. Your 20s are for building your habits, your discipline, your foundation. Because every lazy decision now becomes a heavy burden later. You don't lose your potential overnight. You lose it every time you choose comfort over growth. You lose it every time you say, I'll do it later. I've seen too many people wake up at 30, 40, 50, still haunted by the dreams they buried in their 20s. They blame life. They blame luck. But the truth, they didn't run out of chances. They ran out of courage. The clock doesn't stop for your anxiety. The world doesn't pause because you're scared. And time doesn't wait for you to be ready. Because it's not your servant. It's your shadow. So let me ask you, how many more mornings will you waste saying, I'll start when I feel ready? Because here's the truth. You will never feel ready. Readiness is a myth sold to the lazy. You don't need to be ready. You need to start. Start before you feel confident. Start before you understand everything. Start before you're sure it'll work. Because the people you admire, the ones you look up to, they didn't have more time than you. They just used the same 24 hours differently. You scroll for hours comparing your life to others, forgetting that while you watch them, they're working. While you doubt yourself, they're taking action. While you sleep through your purpose, they're building theirs. Don't you see? Every minute you waste wishing for more time is a minute stolen from your destiny. The future you dream of is built in the seconds you ignore. So here's the truth. Time isn't your enemy. Your fear is. You're not running out of time. You're running out of belief. And one day, when the clock finally catches you, it'll ask just one question. What did you do with me? And on that day, I hope you can answer with pride. I hope you can say, I didn't waste you. I used every second to become who I was meant to be. Because in the end, that's all that matters. Not how long you lived, but how awake you were while living it. Let me tell you something most people never understand. The hardest battle you will ever fight isn't against the world. It isn't against your enemies, your boss, your parents, or your past. It's the one happening inside you. Every single day you wake up, a war begins. Between the version of you that wants to grow and the version that wants to stay comfortable. You know that voice I'm talking about. The one that says, you can't. You're not ready. You're not good enough. That's not life talking. That's the part of you that's terrified of change. We've built a generation that's mastered the art of running away from discomfort. You fail once, and you call yourself a failure. You get rejected, and you say you're not worthy. You fall, and instead of standing back up, you scroll through other people's lives pretending you're fine. But let me ask you something. How will you ever discover your strength if you never face your storms? You see, the battle within is not about proving something to the world. It's about conquering the part of you that wants to give up when life gets hard. The part that craves comfort when your soul is begging for growth. The truth is, comfort is a slow poison. It feels good now, but it kills you slowly. It kills your ambition, your drive, your potential. Every time you choose comfort, you betray the version of you that could have been unstoppable. The youth today, they're drowning in comparison. You measure your worth by likes and follows. You chase validation instead of vision. You run from solitude because you're afraid of your own thoughts. But Morgan Freeman says this: silence is not your enemy. Doubt is not your destroyer. They're your teachers. Every great man, every strong woman, they met themselves in the middle of chaos. When life broke them, they didn't quit. They rebuilt themselves, piece by piece, day by day, until the person they were no longer existed. And the person they were meant to be stood up. The real battle isn't about success. It's about survival of your soul. It's about choosing discipline when your mind screams for distraction. It's about saying, I'll try again, when your body wants to give up. You'll never win against the world if you haven't won against yourself. Because you can fool others, but you can't fool the man in the mirror. That reflection knows when you're lying about trying your best. It knows when you gave up too early. It knows when you chose excuses over effort. So stop blaming life for your struggles. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline doesn't. Get up even when you're tired. Work even when you're scared. Because that's what warriors do. They fight even when no one is watching. The battle within will break you 100 times before it builds you once. But that one moment, when you rise after losing everything, that's where your power begins. You don't need to be fearless to win this war. You just need to move forward while you're afraid, because bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep walking despite it. So the next time your mind tells you you can't, smile and whisper back, "Watch me." Because the greatest victory in life isn't fame, money, or applause. It's the quiet pride of knowing you didn't quit on yourself. That's the battle worth fighting every day. That's the war that defines your legacy. You can't stop the wind. You can't calm the waves. And you sure can't predict how long the storm will last. But you can control your sail. That's something life doesn't tell you when you're young. That control isn't about everything going your way. It's about how you move when everything goes wrong. I've seen people fall apart because they tried to fight every storm. They wanted the sky to clear before they took a step. But life doesn't wait for calm seas. It tests your courage in the chaos. The storm is not your punishment. It's your training ground. When the wind howls, when you lose people you thought would never leave, when your plans fall apart and nothing makes sense, that's when life's real lesson begins. You start realizing that control doesn't mean perfect outcomes. It means stable reactions. The most peaceful people I've met weren't those who avoided hardship. They were the ones who learned to breathe through it. They anchored themselves not to circumstances, but to values, to patience, to faith, to self-belief. So when the storm hits, and it will, don't curse the sky. Lift your sail, adjust your direction, and trust that the same wind trying to break you might be the one carrying you toward where you're meant to be. It's not about the storm being over. It's about who you become while it's raging. Because once you've sailed through one, you'll never fear another. You'll start to see storms differently. Not as threats, but as opportunities to grow, to navigate, to rise. So if life feels like chaos right now, don't run. Don't hide. Anchor your soul. Control your sail. Because no matter how dark the sky gets, you still decide how far you'll go. You can have all the money, all the fame, all the applause, and still go to bed feeling empty. Because success without peace is just another kind of prison. I've met people who had everything you could imagine. Mansions, cars, followers, respect. Yet when the cameras turned off, when the parties ended, they sat in silence with a question they couldn't answer. Why am I still not happy? The truth is, the world taught us how to chase success, but it never taught us how to find peace. We were told to hustle, to grind, to compete. But no one told us that rest is strength, that joy is success. That peace is the highest currency a human being can hold. When you're young, it's easy to believe that more will fix you. More money, more validation, more attention. But after a while you realize the void isn't outside of you, it's within you. And if you don't heal that void, no amount of more will ever be enough. Peace comes when you stop performing and start being. When you stop proving and start living. When you stop comparing your journey and start listening to your soul. The day you can look at yourself and say, I'm proud of who I am, not what I have. That's the day you've truly made it. Because true success isn't when the world claps for you. It's when your heart stops fighting you. So ask yourself, do you want to be impressive, or do you want to be at peace? Because you can't always be both. And if you ever have to choose peace. Because that's the kind of success you never lose. It's not your job that's destroying you. It's not the people, not the noise, not even your failures. It's your mind. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. And most people, they're losing that battle every single day. Not because they're weak, but because they never learned to master their thoughts. See, your mind will tell you that you're not enough. It will whisper that you've already failed. It will convince you that there's no way out, no hope, no future. But that voice, that's not the truth. That's fear wearing a familiar face. You have to learn to separate what's real from what's repeated. Your mind repeats your pain. Your mind repeats your past. And unless you confront it, it becomes your reality. Every day you wake up, you are standing on a battlefield that no one else can see. The fight isn't in the streets. It's in your head. It's in how you talk to yourself when no one's listening. It's in whether you choose discipline or distraction, purpose or pity, faith or fear. You can't win that war overnight, but you can train for it. Every time you get up when you don't feel like it, you're winning. Every time you forgive yourself instead of tearing yourself apart, you're winning. Every time you choose to grow instead of giving up, you're winning. You can't stop negative thoughts from knocking, but you can refuse to open the door. That's what strength really is. Not being fearless, but learning to fight through fear. So remember, before you try to fix the world, fix your mind. Because if you don't conquer that battlefield, it doesn't matter what else you build. It'll always fall. But once you master your mind, you can face anything and win everything. Pain has a way of convincing you it's permanent. It makes you believe that your story ends here. In the heartbreak, the loss, the loneliness. But pain is not your ending, my friend. It's your awakening. Every great person you admire, every hero, every voice that ever changed the world, they were all broken once. But they didn't stop there. They rebuilt. The youth today, you've been told to run from pain, to distract yourself, to numb it with noise and entertainment. But the truth is, your pain is trying to teach you something. It's not your punishment. It's your path. That heartbreak, it's shaping your compassion. That rejection, it's directing your purpose. That failure, it's building your strength. Morgan Freeman would tell you, I didn't find wisdom in comfort. I found it in pain. Because pain makes you pay attention. It strips away your illusions. It forces you to confront who you really are. If you let it, pain can be your greatest teacher. It will show you what matters. It will push you toward purpose. It will make you more human, more grounded, more grateful. But you have to stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this trying to build in me? You see, pain doesn't destroy you. Resistance to pain does. When you finally face it, feel it, and rise anyway, that's when you're reborn. So if you're hurting tonight, don't give up. Don't close your story in the middle of the chapter. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that pain didn't break you. It built you. It was never the end. It was always the beginning of who you were meant to become. You see, one day, all of this will fade. The fame, the applause, the race you're running in your mind. And what'll remain is the person you became along the way. You'll realize it was never about winning. It was about becoming. Becoming calm in the chaos, strong in the struggle, finding peace, even when the world tried to take it away. The future doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to the most disciplined. Not to the ones who never fall, but to the ones who rise again and again. So tonight, as you close your eyes, don't ask for an easier life. Ask for the strength to live this one with purpose. Because the moment you stop running from yourself is the moment your life finally begins.